Speaking of videoing practices, there's one iconic scrimmage.
There is.
Yeah.
But nobody knows if it actually happened because
it
nobody
happened.
actually saw it.
No, you know what happened.
Well, I saw this footage come out and was like, wow.
They said it was just a practice. But what Caitlin Clark did on that hardwood in Iowa City has echoed for years. A 15-point deficit, a gym full of doubters, and then 22 points in 2 minutes. Not a fairy tale, not a rumor. This happened, and nobody, not even Caitlin herself, was ready for what came next. Let's talk about it. You know that feeling when everything's on the line? When the game's slipping away and someone has to step up or it's over? That's where Caitlin Clark was. Only this wasn't a packed arena with bright lights. This wasn't a nationally televised showdown or a WNBA playoff. This was a closed-door scrimmage in Iowa City, just a group of ballers hooping for pride, and Clark's squad was getting worked down 15 to a group of guys from the University of Iowa men's practice team. Now, before you brush that off, before you fall into that lazy trap of, it was just practice, you need to know what this really was. The men weren't playing soft. They weren't giving her breathing room. They were pressing, bodying up, making it physical. They were trying to win. And that's exactly what makes what Caitlin did so legendary. Because the rim doesn't get smaller when it's practice. The three-point line doesn't move in. Pressure doesn't vanish. In fact, for the great ones, that pressure turns into fuel. Caitlin Clark caught the ball at the top of the key, let it fly. Then again from deeper, bang. Then again, near the logo, network. And that was just the beginning. She racked up 22 points in just 2 minutes, 7 three-pointers in under 120 seconds, most of them from NBA range. And this wasn't in an empty gym. There were high school girls in the audience who were losing their minds, jumping up, screaming and watching history. No cameras, no fanfare, just raw talent on display. A moment that became myth. It was 2020. Clark was still early in her rise, a star on the rise at Iowa, but not yet the all-time NCAA scoring leader. This wasn't about records, it was about presence, about showing up when the team needed something, and not just showing up, but taking over. Years later, in March 2024, ESPN journalist Wright Thompson wrote about this very scrimmage in a profile that dove deep into Clark's mythos. He talked to teammates, coaches, student managers, people who were there. And the story didn't just check out, it grew. Because every detail, every three-pointer, every moment of that practice session got validated. Everyone saw it. Everyone remembered it. Clark's teammates were stunned. The men's practice squad was frustrated. They tried adjusting, closing out harder, and playing tighter. None of it mattered. She was in that rare zone athletes talk about, the one where everything slows down, the basket looks bigger, and instinct takes over. After 5 straight threes, Clark cracked a rare smile. Even she couldn't believe it. But she wasn't done. She hit another, and another. The energy in the gym flipped. And by the time her 7th three-pointer swished through, the women's squad had completed the comeback. They won. That scrimmage, it became part of her legend. And yes, she still brings it up, jokes about it with the guys who tried to guard her, scoring 3,951 points and still just warming up. Now, fast forward. That scrimmage wasn't a fluke, it was a preview. Caitlin Clark went on to become the all-time leading scorer in college basketball history, more than any man or woman who's ever laced up sneakers at the NCAA level. Think about how many buckets that took, how much consistency, how much pressure, how much attention. She led the NCAA in scoring and assists. She broke record after record. And then, when her college career wrapped up, she walked into the WNBA like she owned the place. And in her rookie season, she dropped over 19 points per game. She started raining logo threes like they were layups. She led the league in assists. She didn't need time to adjust, she was the adjustment. And you could feel it in every arena she stepped into. But it wasn't just her scoring. Caitlin's vision and passing turned heads. Even legendary Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski, Coach K himself, praised her unselfishness and court awareness. In an interview, he said, "The best thing she does is pass. She's a magical passer. She has a great feel for the game. I do what her coach did, make sure she handles the ball a lot, and she'll make everyone better." He called her terrific, called her remarkable, and he wasn't alone. The league, the locker room, and the respect. Let's talk about how the pros see her. One NBA player talked about sharing gym space with her. He didn't go up and interrupt her workout because he doesn't like when people interrupt his, but he watched. And he saw something real. Clark was running a drill 2 in a row from the corner to the wing. Miss once, move on. Miss twice, start over. She was hitting everything, demanding clean passes, giving attitude when the pass was off. A killer. "She's a gangster," the player said, lighting people up. Another said, "She can shoot the calls out of it." They weren't laughing. They weren't surprised. They were impressed. And it wasn't just about the jumper. Everyone talks about how kind she is, how welcoming, how she shows love to every fan, from little kids to sweet guests. Her Midwestern roots run deep, born in Des Moines, raised in West Des Moines, Iowa, and that warmth travels with her. At a Kansas City game, she spent time with families, shook hands, showed love. One player said she was cut from the same cloth as him, open arms, open heart. Clark fans. Now let's talk about you, the fans. Because Caitlin Clark fans, y'all are different. You show up, you travel, you support like no other fan base. You defend her name in every comment section on every feed. Some say you're wild, some say you're biased. But the truth? You see something special, and you're not afraid to let the world know. You've watched her since college, you've bought the merch, filled the stands, made your voice heard, and she's earned it. Every bucket, every assist, every moment she's brought it, and you've ridden with her through it all. One NBA vet even joked, "If we go right and she goes left, it's over for us." Caitlin Clark fans, they don't play. And they don't, because you know what she's capable of. And if you didn't, that scrimmage in Iowa told you everything. It was just practice. A tired excuse. Let's kill this narrative right now. It was just practice. That's the weakest excuse in sports, because real hoopers know what you do when no one's watching is who you really are. Those weren't fake shots. That wasn't a 9-foot rim. That wasn't some rec league. Those were real buckets, real defenders, real pressure. That performance wasn't luck. You do it because you've put in thousands of hours when nobody cared. You've worked your mechanics until your shot feels like breathing. You've trained your body and mind to stay locked in. So when the moment shows up, you don't shrink. You show out. That's what Caitlin Clark did, and she didn't need ESPN to validate it. The people who were there knew. The ones who played against her, they really knew. From practice courts to prime time. What started in a quiet gym in Iowa became a movement. Clark is now the face of the WNBA. Her impact can't be measured just in points or assists. She's changed how we look at women's basketball. She's packed arenas. She's forced conversations. She's drawn comparisons to Steph Curry, not just for the range, but for the way she makes the impossible feel routine. And this is just the beginning. There are more records to break, more crowds to silence, more doubters to humble. This isn't just a basketball story. It's about talent, about work, about being ready when it matters most. Caitlin Clark didn't become great because someone gave her a chance. She took it. She built this reputation in empty gyms, on long nights, when the lights were off and the cameras weren't rolling. And when the moment finally called, she answered. So if you're sitting at home wondering how a scrimmage could matter this much, maybe you've never been counted out. Maybe you've never had to show everyone exactly what you're made of. Maybe you've never had to silence a gym full of people with just your game. But if you have, if you felt that fire, if you've been underestimated, if you've ever had to fight to prove you belong, then this story hits different. The records will keep falling. The range will keep stretching. The legend will keep growing. If you felt this, if you believe Caitlin Clark is already one of the greatest to ever do it, drop a Caitlin GOAT in the comments. Like the video, subscribe for more stories that dig deeper, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a second of this incredible journey.